Do you know what sucks? Tomy Murdoch. Oh yeah, I went there. Do you know what also sucks? Engines with either static or no moving side rods. Over the years, I've amended a few of these issues with the engines that I have, but I could never figure out how to give my Murdoch moving side rods. At the time of recording this, he isn't finished yet, but if you're watching this, that means it was successfully completed. Here's how I made my Trackmaster Murdoch with moving side rods. And it is time for a disclaimer. This video involves the use of dangerous tools. If you do not feel confident in your ability to use these tools, grab a trusted adult to help you through this process. It's been a while since my last custom video, or since my last video in general, so let's go ahead and just get straight into this. After taking down my train room, graduating, and moving back home, I knew it was time to start another new project. That project being, Conquest Diesel 10.
Stop! Listen to me. Just listen.
Are you crazy? You think I'm gonna give you a chance to surrender? I am having the time of my life here. Hey, don't give up. You can do this. You just need the right motivation.
Disclaimer number 2. You should only have to remove the boiler from Murdoch's chassis. You don't have to remove the side rods, or at least in my process. I will go further into detail on what I did and how not to completely ruin the original chassis, because I know that Murdoch goes for a pretty penny online. Disclaimer number 3. These are the tools that you will need for this process. A hot glue gun, a file or a Dremel, needle nose pliers, a pair of cutters, Phillips head and triangle head screwdriver, Trackmaster 2 chassis of your choosing, Tomy wheels, a Tomy Salty chassis, these 2 bottles of paint, the middle section of a Tomy Henry chassis, and a white Tomy coupling. With all that being said, let's get into it, shall we? Once again, I was inspired to make this video and this project by watching the newest Unlucky Tug video. Murdoch was one of those characters I always wanted as a kid, but we could never find him in stores. So naturally, I bought him secondhand and have used him a lot now that I'm older. After watching the Unlucky Tug's new video on Murdoch, I decided to use Trackmaster Lionel's Trains method of giving Murdoch moving side rods. I watched his video like one time and was like, screw it, I can do this. I'm totally qualified to do this. I've been modding trains for years. This is nothing out of the ordinary for me. Spoiler alert, that was not the case in this situation. In his video, he cut the side rods to size, put in a hole for the side rods, and then just glued it to Murdoch's back wheels. Simple enough, right? I tried so many times and could not get it to fit on there, or stay. So you know what? I was like, we're gonna do this my way, and figure it out from scratch. Using the 2 paints that I had mentioned earlier, I created a mixture that I was happy with that matched Murdoch's paint. Then I began painting the Trackmaster 2 wheels and the Tomy wheels for a wheel conversion on the chassis. After doing the wheel conversion, you want to file down here to give the wheels enough clearance to run. File down the back and make a hole similar to this to make room for his tender coupling. Next, you want to cut these pieces off so that way you can hold the wheels in place. Then you want to glue them to the chassis without the glue getting stuck on the wheels. Remember that Tomy Salty chassis? Yeah, we kind of got to butcher it at this point.
What in the Reese's peanut butter is going on here?
I guess you could really use any piece of plastic or cardboard for this process, but I specifically did this so that way the edges of the chassis could clip into the Trackmaster 2 one, hold it in place, and so that way I could get the Tomy Salty wheels to use for his front bogies. At this point, the chassis should be looking something like this, where you can just place the top of Murdoch right onto it, slide it on, and it fits. I know he's facing downward here, but we're going to fix this later with some blue tack, and now we'll have enough room to put the tender coupling in and build him his front bogies. Do you guys remember earlier when I said other stories, and we already talked about Diesel 10 Conquest? That's right. In the middle of this, I started another new project. In 2024, I got a Murdoch in a Facebook Marketplace lot, and his motor did not work. After successfully swapping it, the motor was still weak, and I knew that it would have a hard time pushing the front of Murdoch while pulling whatever cars I wanted him to pull. So at this point, during test footage, I decided, you know what, let's give him a powered van as well. If you're wondering how I did it, I literally just used Custom Trackmaster's video on how to make a powered van. And mine looks a little chopped because it was rushed, but it looks nice to me and it serves its purpose. So anyways, pushing the screw for the shell on the Trackmaster 2 chassis all the way down and then hot gluing it into place so it can act as a swivel function for the front bogie. I know I said you had to use a Henry chassis, specifically the middle wheel part, but you can use any classic Trackmaster or Tomy section that houses a non-motorized wheel for this part. Turn the chassis bit upside down, then cut the Tomy coupling in half, glue it back together, and glue it to the chassis. I also added an extra weight to help keep the chassis facing downwards. Then I painted the smaller Tomy wheels that came with the Trackmaster Salty. I ended up switching the pin that holds them in place with a smaller one. I believe it was from a Tomy Duck, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, just find a smaller pin to hold it in place than the actual Trackmaster Salty one. At this point, the chassis for Murdoch should be looking something like this. A small thing to add, I ended up filing down this part again, so that way it would be more level and Murdoch would not face downward, like I mentioned earlier. For assembling it, you want to take the front bogie part and slide it on top of the wheels. We are not going to add anything underneath it to allow it to swivel. Then, push it into where the screw would hold it in place, like so. The front of the Tomy Salty chassis and Murdoch will hold it in place. So now you slide it on and he should look something like this. For my first time ever making bogies, I feel like he handles pretty well on curves. I thought about adding in his pistons in the front half of his static side rods for a better illusion, but I honestly don't think I'm going to. I'm really happy with how he's turned out and how he's already looking. Plus, I've been kind of making this up as I go along, and I don't think I'm experienced enough to do that yet. Also, that would require me to make modifications to Murdoch's boiler, and I don't want to cut in or glue anything to it. I like to keep it as is. So for now, Murdoch is officially finished.